Hello, good morning. Okay, so I see that everyone is joining. So welcome everyone on board to today's webinar. So today, I will walk you through the Autumn 1 2024 release. So first of all, please let me introduce myself. I'm Phương, product specialist of Onix, and as you can see on the screen, today, we will see what is new in the latest release of Onix, and the release has gone live in the last Friday, 27th of September 2024. As you might have been noticed via the email, this release we introduced many new forms and also changes across the Onix platforms, which mean that all applications are affected. And also, in three following apps, we are introducing new features and as well as enhancements. So, if you're using Onix Work, Onix Worker on mobile phone, or Onix Pick and Pack to pick the equipment, then you might be interested in seeing what's new and seeing the details of the changes. Okay, so I think that we should just dive in the details right now. And if before we start, if you want to see the recording of this webinar, you can enter our YouTube channel. And also, if you get to our release notes, you will see a link that leads you to the playlist of our webinar recordings. So if you have to leave early, or if you want to watch uh, any changes again for like more details, then you can just take your time. So in today's session, we will go through the overview, and then we'll go into the features demo where I will show you how the highlighted features work, and then we'll have a Q&A session. Just before we start, if you have questions, please ask in the chat, and we will try to answer as many of them as possible during the Q&A session. In the public chat, everyone can see your question, but we also provide you with the private chat channel. So if you are sharing any sensitive information in the question, or you don't want anyone else to see the details of your question, then just use the private channel. In case that any question is not answered within the webinar, we will follow up with you via the email after the webinar. And finally, before we get into the overview, at the end of the webinar, we will take you to an evaluation form. And if possible, we really appreciate it if you could spend 2 minutes to answer the evaluation form. And your inputs will help us improve our webinars in the future. Okay, so let's start with the details. Okay, so firstly, we will go with the overview as usual. So as introduced earlier in this release, we are introducing to you many new forms, specifically three forms. Firstly, it is the entity report, which allows you to perform the non-destructive testing. And this feature will also be available in the feature demo session later on in this webinar. So stay tuned until the end to see how you can design an entity report and how you can complete a job with the entity report. And the second form is a PDF, the ability to create PDF documents for preventive maintenance jobs. So before this release, you can only create the documentation for the mandatory jobs, but now you can also do it for preventive maintenance. Why do we make this change? So we want to help you with ensuring all the uh, like the proof of work, the proof of inspections, and to help you with distributing the result of inspection of preventive maintenance. And finally, we introduced the bill of materials form. So this form is uh, used in the orders and also can be created via the jobs. So we'll go into the details. So firstly, the entity report for non-destructive testing. So we allow you to create form variants, and you can design the form variants depending on your needs for the entity techniques. Also, we offer flexible form properties. So if you have a really complex entity testing and you have so many fields and data to input in every test, this entity report can meet all of those needs. So this is a preview, a simple preview of an entity report. And as you can see, there are many types of layouts. So we support you with the two grid layouts. We also support you to create a table so that you can input data. And finally, there are the pictures at the end. So you can attach pictures to show the to support the entity testing. Okay, so we'll go into the details of entity report later on. And the next one would be the service report, a form for preventive maintenance jobs. This is a preview of the service report form, and we came up and finalized on this design after really valuable inputs from you all when we posted it on community. Before you activate it in your Onix Work settings, be mindful that if you create PDF documents for preventive maintenance jobs, it might affect your company's storage use. And also, if you're using Onix Express, it will also affect your Onix Express documents volume. So be really mindful when you turn on the service report to use it. And finally, the third new form of Autumn 1 2024 release is the new bill of materials form. So this is a preview, a sample of what the bill of materials look like. As you can see, it will list all of the equipment parts. So it is especially useful if you are dealing with man and sub equipment. And an important note when you use this bill of materials form is that it can only be created in Onix Work, and you can attach it to an order, or if you manually create a job, you can also use this bill of materials form. If you're interested in using bill of materials form, please contact your company's customer success manager at Onix and ask them to help you enable this form. And then you can activate or deactivate it depending on your needs. Okay, so that's for three forms. And then we come to the changes across the Onix platform. So these are the changes applying to all applications. So the first two ones will be presented with more details earlier. So those are the close to do status, adjust to the duration of job intervals. And then if you are working with job intervals, now you can name the job intervals depending on the purpose of the interval. So, and the other new features are related to renaming of features or functionality. So the first thing is that base document is now renamed as shared document library. So if you go into Onix Work settings and open the base document, you will see that its name has now been changed to shared document library. And we believe that this rename will better reflect uh, the purpose of this functionality as a central hub to gather all the documents that is shared and reused again and again across your company. Secondly, another renaming feature renaming change is that the product type and equipment type is now renamed as product class and equipment class. So why do we make this change? We believe that by calling it a class uh, and not a type anymore, it will help you with uh, less confusion when you are referring to the type or the model of a product or an equipment. And what is product class? What is equipment class? That is the values of the classes are the ones that you see every day on the equipment model or the product model. That those are the unique, the part, the not consumable or stock goods. And finally, because I just mentioned part, so we actually introduced a new product and equipment class in this release that is called part. So besides the unique equipment, we believe that many equipment in your company might be just a part, a component of a bigger equipment, and all of these parts will come together to create a complete equipment. But if you haven't got a chance to link them as main sub equipment, how can you market them as just a component? And if you see all of them, all of this unit equipment, but just components displayed on the table layout or the split layout of the equipment model, it is such a long list and it would be super hard for you to manage the equipment list. So that's why when we introduce the part uh, equipment class, all of the default equipment will also be updated and will by default exclude the part equipment. So if you mark an equipment class, an equipment with the equipment class as part, you will not see it in a normal standard equipment view, and it will give you a more focused view to manage your equipment, especially if your company has a lot of equipment and you are using or you are viewing them as like unique complete equipment or just components, not a complete one. Okay, and another enhancement that would be really useful if you are working with telescopic trucks is that we just added three new control categories. So CX, the main control category, and two of its subcategories, control categories, C1 and C2. So if you want to enable these control categories, go to Onix Work settings and enable it in the control categories section. Okay, so we'll go to the details of these first two new features. So the first thing is that, as the title has stated, the close to do status now will be adaptable to the duration of job intervals. And how can you see this change? You will see it in the way that uh, the close to do status is displayed in the equipment list or in Onix Worker, in Onix Work, or in any apps. And in the way in the timing of the notification emails. So if your company turns on the monthly or weekly or uh, another interval of
Okay, sorry for the interruption later earlier. It's a technical issue. So, can anyone hear my voice? If yes, please type in the public chat message so that I can know that you guys are listening to me and I can continue. Yes, thank you, John. So then I will continue with the uh, details of this new feature. Thank you for letting me know if you cannot hear me or if you think that there is a technical glitch in this sound, then please let me know in the chat. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so then we go back to the uh, introduction of the close to do status. So as you can see in the table, I have listed out the three main timings. So previously, for any kind of job intervals, even if you have a 3 day job interval or a 3 year job interval, you will get the same timing of uh, close to do status. And it really isn't really helpful because you will need a more like promptly notification of the short interval, or you will expect a longer or a more delayed notification of a longer interval. So that's why in this release, we try to adjust the timing of the close to do status. So for an equipment, its due status will change from good to close to do 1 day prior to the due date if its job interval is equal or less than 7 days. So, for example, if you have a 7 day or 1 week job interval, then 1 day before the due date, you will get the notification or you will see it. You will see the due status changes in the color to yellow in the equipment list. The same thing applies to other durations. So for any interval that is equal or less than 1 month, the due status will change to close to due 7 days prior to the due date. And for job intervals that are longer than 1 month, the timing is 45 days prior to the due date. So this is kind of similar to the previous functionality. So by uh, introducing this change, we hope that it will introduce you with it will help you with more accurate and more flexible uh, way of tracking the equipment due. So we come to the next big change that apply to all of the applications. That is the job description, the job interval description. So as you can see in the picture that I showed to you on the screen, I am using I in an equipment, I added many job intervals, 5 in total, and they all have the same job class, mandatory inspection. The intervals are the same, 12 months. But as you can see, the only difference is uh, each of this interval has a distinct job interval description. And as of now, we provide you with 5 options. So you can create a job interval without any description, which most of the time will be for general use, general inspection. And then the out of 4 predefined descriptions for drops, if you are working with dropped object prevention scheme inspections, EX, explosion inspection for explosion resistance, LT load testing, and finally, NDT, non-destructive testing. So by using these job interval descriptions, you can create the same uh, the jobs with the same job class, same interval, which was not possible before this release, and then give them a distinct name so that you can distinguish between the job intervals. Okay, so those are the changes in our applications, and now we go to the features, the new ones in Onix Work. So in Onix Work, today we have three functionality changes in orders, and we will see how they work in the feature demo later on. So those are how you deal with the documents in an order line, how you can match documents with specific equipment, how you can directly add documents to the order line without going through the shared document library. And then if you're using documents with serial numbers that are meant for one-time use only, then you can just remove them from the shared document library after you have already added that document to the order line, so that you keep the shared document library organized and have a more focused view when it comes to document managing. Okay, and the other three new features that I will give you a glimpse of, and you can also try them out by now, is a change in the orders model of Onix Work. That is, you can create sub-equipment from grouped order lines. We already made a tutorial video on this one in Norwegian. And so in the later slides, I will show you how to get to that tutorial video. The next change is in the way that you collaborate with your teammates, your colleagues at work. As you can now share a link to an equipment or an issue with your team. So by doing this, instead of giving your serial number and asking your colleague to search for that equipment, you can just send a link and then they get the equipment or the issue immediately, and then they can start viewing the details. And finally, a change in the equipment model related to how you can manage the maintenance of equipment. So in the previous releases, we introduced the maintenance of equipment panel where you can see the maintenance of equipment in one screen. And now we escalated to the whole equipment list. So I will show you a preview of what a table layout that shows except equipment will look like later on. And finally, the enhancements also related to managed sub equipment is in Autumn 1 2024 release, we bring back the ability to connect managed sub equipment in both ways, which means that by now, if you come into an equipment, you can add a man or a sub equipment. There is no restriction, and if you open an equipment, open a man equipment which already has some sub equipment, you can add some more. Or if you open a normal equipment, then you can click on man sub equipment and then add it to a man equipment, so that the equipment that you're opening right now will become a sub equipment. And we hope this will give you more flexibility in how you work with man and sub equipment. And the final enhancement is also in the equipment model, where we introduce the new standard view My Department. Basically, it shows all equipment that belongs to your department, and you can find this under the standard view list. Okay, so we'll come to the details of some of the new features. So this is for the create sub-equipment from groups other lines. As I said earlier, we have a tutorial video in Norwegian. If you're interested in an English tutorial video, please let us know. And if you want a written version, then please visit our knowledge base. We have made a really dedicated instructions on how to handle grouped order lines, either if you create sub equipment or not. So if you are using the orders model, you will see that in the order, the main tab, there is a create sub equipment toggle checkbox. If you turn this on, and when you process a grouped order lines, it will create the sub equipment. And you can also number the in the numbering tab of the grouped order lines, you can see that the main and sub equipment are displayed in a set. So with the main equipment as number one over here, and all of the sub equipment as the second level of numbering. So you can try this out, or you can, if you want to see a tutorial of how things work in video, then please scan this. And if you want to like find the video later on, then you can just rewatch the webinar or leave a comment in the chat so we can send it to you. So the next one is the ability to collaborate with your colleagues by using the new button copy link. So this is an equipment that I was opening in Onix Work. There is a new copy link button next to the correct copy button. And if I click on it, it will say link copied to clipboard. And then I just send the link to my colleague, and then he or she will open it and land directly in the right equipment. The same goes with issue. For sub equipment, you can add them as display fields to the table layout. So this is a preview of how a custom view, which enables sub equipment, looks like. So in this custom view, I enabled 5 columns for sub equipment, and I turned on this field. So these are my choices. If you want to use this function, you must use a custom view. So this is the name, the view's name. So just click on it and then check if it is a standard view or not. If it is a standard view, create a copy of that view and then edit it by as you wish. So if you edit the view in the display fields section, you will click on add a field and then you search for the sub equipment field. When you choose this sub equipment field, you will get to configure, set up the sub equipment columns. Here I choose number 5, sort the items by the type, and display these fields. And when I save this sub equipment columns configuration, I get the 5 sub equipment columns in the display fields. So that's it. And finally, in Onix Worker, we are introducing 2 new features. Great jobs with step-by-step process, which you can see the feature demo, and how to share link with equipment with your team to an equipment on issue. So for the second new feature, if you open the equipment on issue, you will get a share button. Just click on it, then you can share it via the messaging apps in your device. And finally, in Onix Pick and Pack, we allow you to add documents to the order line directly. And you can also match documents with specific equipment. So if you want to see how to match documents with specific equipment, please visit our knowledge base or get a glimpse of how it works in Onix Work, because it is in the same way with Onix Pick and Pack. And so now I think we can safely go to the features demo. I can share with you firstly how to create a jobs with a step-by-step process in Onix Worker, and then how you can use the new entity reports in Onix Work, and how you can handle documents in the order lines. Okay, so firstly, we'll come to the Onix Worker. So this is my Onix Worker. I'm using it on Windows as a demo session. So if you are using it on a mobile phone, it should look the same way. So here I will open an equipment and create a new job for it. So in this step, it is the same as before. Just choose a suitable job checklist depending on your job class. So today I will do operator job for daily use. And this is where you can see the change. The details, the checklist, and the status are divided into 3 sections. So if I have had every details filled in this first section details, just click continue. And if you see this checked icon, it means that it has been completed properly and successfully. So this is the checklist screen, the step number 2. I see that my equipment is good, so I just quickly fill in all checklist checkpoints. But of course, you can just change some of them and leave the comments or mark the issue as solved, or even add a picture if you like. But here I do not see any need, so I just save this checkpoint. And when I have done completing the checklist, then I will click to continue to finish my uh, finish the job status. So because I chose the comment status for a checkpoint earlier, so I can only select comments as the highest status. If I have any comment about this job, when I check the equipment, then I will leave a comment. But actually I do not have, so I will just click complete. So let's say that if, for example, if I forget to choose a job status and I click complete, I tap on to complete, I will get a warning saying that I haven't finished this status step and I have to come back to this step to find a warning message which shows me where I'm missing the value. So I just fill it in and then click complete again. And then you can see that it says the job has been completed successfully, which is much easier because I just fill in all the details and click next step, and then complete. So that's a more intuitive flow, which we hope you will enjoy. And for the next ones are the changes in the forms, the entity. So I can show you how they work. So right now I'm using the supply zone company. I'm in the settings and I will go to forms. So by default, the entity report form will be inactive. So if you want to use it, please set it to active and then save. And then you will switch to the tab variants to find the highlights here. So if you have never used the entity report, you will get no hit, no variants yet. You can like build a variant from scratch, or we can help you by providing you with some predefined variants. So I will just click on this one, and you will get a total of 6 variants ready for use. You can click on one of these to see the details, the locale, the date format, decimal separator, which are the additional fields comparing to a normal form. Or you can see the what is in this entity form by opening the form properties designer. So in the property designer, you can define if you want to like determine the input type of a field, or you want to make it a required. And we also let you choose the layout as I showed you on the preview earlier. You can use the 2-column grid, or you can add a table with maximum of 10 columns. So how will I use this? So let's go to the equipment. So let's create a job for this equipment. So in this equipment, I will create a new job. To use the entity report, you will edit the form, choose entity report in the list, and choose the right variant. So here I will use ultrasonic testing. And let's say that everything else is good. So I save the changes, and right when the entity form is applied, you will see a new tab called form properties. This is where you have to fill in. You can see that when you open the form properties to fill in, to input the inspection value, the fields will have the input types that were defined in the settings. So for free text, you can enter anything. But for the other ones, you should choose. So this are the same. So here we have the grids. Then we have the tables. We can add a new row to input the values if you are doing more tests. And then you can add the pictures. So here I'm using Onix Work, so I just drag and drops. Save. And leave some comment on the entity testing. So here I'm missing some required form properties, so I will complete it later on. And I can preview this. To see how my ultrasonic testing report looks like. So this is the draft version. As you can see, all of the values I input earlier will appear here. So it gives you a preview of what is shown in the final documentation. You can also select a checklist for this job, and then when you file, you will get the checklist, the form, the entity documentation for this job. So that's how you can design the entity report, and then you can create a job with entity report. So the next demo will be with how you work with documents in the orders. So let's go back to the orders. So here I am using supply chain company. I have created an order. I have created an order line, and I have picked some equipment. So now I will go to the part where I work with the documents. So what is new in this release that we allow you to add documents directly from your device instead of from the shared document library only. So now you have two options. So for example, I can drag and drop device to from my own computer and then save this change. Or I can add the documents from the shared document library. So this is another change in this release. As you can see, I have just selected an equipment with the serial number specified. In this release, any documents with a serial number are used only once, and we recognize them as one-time use, and we allow you to choose whether to remove it from the shared document library after you add it to the other line. You can of course choose no, and then this document will just stay where it has been all the time. But this time I will choose yes. And as you can see in this table, all the documents have the origin stated, and there is a new change, a column that you might see a change here. This column will indicate the number of equipment that matches with this specific document. So because this document specifies the serial number ROA 5 0 0 0 0 12 1, then after I process this order line, only this equipment will have this document attached. All other 11 equipment in this order line will not have this document. If I want to choose some more equipment, then I just select another one. So 12, 17, 16, and then save. And you can see that this document now matches with 3 equipment. And for this document has the batch number specified because I already numbered this order line with the batch number 33 for all 12 documents. For all 12 equipment. So this document naturally matches with all 12 equipment. And how about these 3 documents? They do not have any serial number or batch number specified. So that's why they will automatically match with all equipment in this order line. And when I process the order line, all equipment will get these 3 documents. Okay, so that's it. That's all for the changes in this release. And by now you can try out all of these changes that I just introduced to you guys earlier. In Onix Work, Onix Worker, Onix Pick and Pack, and of course all of the changes related to the forms and the platform-wide changes. So now we'll come to the Q&A, and I am collecting the questions from both the public and the private chat. So this release webinar is not the only opportunity and not the only way for you to ask questions or share the feedbacks about the changes in this release. So you can always do it anytime by sending email to us at support@onix.com about how you think of the changes in this release, or you can suggest some more functionality changes, some feedback, or suggestions on brand new functionalities in Onix community. One question about entity reports I received via private chat is about if is it possible for us to use entity report in Onix Inspect? The answer is yes. So earlier I just showed you guys how to complete a job with entity report in Onix Work only. But of course you can do it in Onix Inspect as long as the entity report is activated. And if you download the customer data after its release and get the entity report activated, you can select entity report as a form of a job, and you can fill in the values of your test accordingly to the input type predefined in that variant. So it works the same way with Onix Work, and it means that you can now download customer data and do the inspection, entity non-destructive testing inspections right from the phone on the tablets. Okay, I think we'll wait for another 2 minutes to see if there is any new question, or otherwise we can end this release webinar, and now you will get the recording of this webinar sent to your inbox. Okay, so it seems like we do not have any new questions yet. Uh, then thank you for coming to this release webinars and letting me know of your concerns. Uh, Hi Elizabeth. Yes, we will send you the recording because you have already signed up for this release webinar. So uh, you will get the recording sent to your inbox to your via email. So you can rewatch it anytime, and then if you have any question afterwards, just let us know by the email. Or if you have feedback, go to Onix community and share it as the blog idea. So you can directly engage with our blog group members, and you can let us know in more details how and why do you think your suggestion will be will help you in the future. So you understand it better and then prioritize the plans better. Okay, so please stay tuned for your inbox because we deliver the recording to your inbox. Okay, so that's all for today's webinar. Thank you for staying and for paying attention to this workflow. I hope you have a good day and enjoy our new features. Thank you again and have a nice day. Bye.